This is the 101 East Main Street, Othello, Washington, the McColumbia Library here in Othello branch. The services they got for the inquiries, no fees, and I believe their services that have been activated of this month, occurrence of bills and no fees. But late returns of services are prudent. Confiscating for the services for the book returns is definitely driver's license requirement, birth certificate, and also your VIST utility bill, and also your first and last of your service of your increments of your post office box, and your residency or UBI number, business office, insurance policies, whatever occurrence occurs, to make sure you get the book back. But this is the turbulence of Christine Hamilton, Freya Printon. This is the red truck. This is the series, which are downloaded on your ebook, eBay. Sorry, not eBay, but ebooks. And McColumbia has digital. You got a Microsoft program that's prudent to your Windows 10. You pay that fee one time, and you don't have to pay for the service anymore. But this is the red truck. This is a tow truck, work truck, and not a show truck. As you can see, this beautiful red truck. This is a zoom, zoom, boom, boom. This is a red truck that saved the school bus that stuck in the mud. One of the biggest red trucks that got stuck in the mud. Now, falling rain, melting snow, rising creek, but wasn't to go. This is of course, the red truck. The red truck. But this is just the beginning of the story. Now, start up the red truck. Gets in the start rug and starts in the truck and starts up the red truck. Now, can you read truck make it up the hill? Well, can it make it up? Red cat can make it up, but red truck will make it up that hill. Now, there's zoom, zoom, and a boom, boom going up the uphill. It took just a simple key issue. Other trucks can't cross the mud like this red truck. Nobody can go into the mud like this truck does. Now, red truck tried, red truck could. Sploosh. And there it goes. Sploosh through the mud and the snow and the rain. And 50, 20 feet, 100 feet of snow, and still going over terrain. Now, slipping, sliding down the slope. Red truck is ours, only hope. Hurry, red truck, hurry, red truck. We're stuck, hurry, hurry, we're stuck. The bus is sinking. It's sinking in the hole. Our bus, we have no more bus, it's sinking. We will all die. We'll have no food, no clothes, no money. We'll have no paychecks. We'll have no bank accounts. Please save us. Our bus is gone. It's gone. The bus is under the ground. Now this is the hooks and hooks. This is the hooks. This is the hooks that are on the truck. And also the chains and tied to pull the red truck. And you pull it might, but pull. As you see, the big bus getting pulled by the red truck with this big, gigantic chain, the biggest chain link in the world. Can pull anything. Pulls tanks, helicopters, Apaches, Chinooks, Air Force Ones, Boeing 747s, and all Boeing equipment, Northrop equipment, Grumman equipment, and also the ship. You can pull any ship out of the shipyard, literally. And these are billions, and thousands of pounds of torque per square inch. Now it says, downshift, pedal, flower. Now tires spin, red truck, roar. See the power of course, the high PCI, the horsepower of the services they got. But they don't know what's underneath the hood. They don't know if it's a Chevy. They don't know if it's a Ford. And they don't know if it's a Mercedes. They don't know if it's a Toyota. And they definitely don't know if it's a cheap service or German parts or United States parts. But it says the red truck has been all over the world. And of course, Splissy, Splash, and Hooray. The hero for the rainy day. Everybody's going back to school because the bus got pulled out of the mud. It's not sinking anymore. It's above ground. Now the red truck. This is the red truck. And remember, this is the red truck by Christine Hamilton and Valerie Pritchard, the red truck. Here at Mid-Columbia Library. That's 101 First Street. 101st Main Street. And that's 2nd Street and then 1st Street. But first, there's the theater right down the road, so this is the red truck. Now let's build. This is a tilt, shake, tap road crewmen. Now this is a tip-top road. This is the Critter construction crew. Needs your help to the latest products. Tilt, tap, shake, clap, and help trucks go to the job done. Job well done. Now we start with this one. Let's build. And this is written by Julie M. Fenner, Zoe Warning, and also Mr. Miffin and Hencourt, Boston, New York. Now this is welcome to the Critter Construction Crew. The team motto is safety first. Here's the hard hat, of course. You're nudging. Now knock it twice before you get to work. So don't knock it and get to work. So you might move and let's build. And this is tilt, shake, tap, read, and crew needs you. Now the Critter Construction Crew needs their help with their latest projects. Now the hard enough not to come bring the trucks, missing Kearney sometimes it needs help getting into the swing of things. Clap. Twice get the attention of all the adversary construction workers. As you can see, they're all different kinds of construction workers. And these construction workers, there's a beaver, there's a buffalo, there's a mouse, there's a bear, and of course there's a porcupine, and there's a hippo, and there's a frog, not a toad, a frog, and also a Dalmatian, pig Latin Dalmatian, and not a Boston Terrier, it's a Dalmatian, kind of a pug, and a construction site, all working all together. And a beaver, there's a beaver, and a squirrel. There's thank you for joining us. First we need to knock down these buildings and crane and heavy wrecking ball with smashing it through the walls. Point to the green crane and wave it over. Please stand still and remain calm for the demolition and processing on the perimeter is going to be coming in this way. Look at all the safety hats they're wearing. And also OSHA ordinances for tie downs to make sure that the construction does by safety first. Now swing to the book to the right, swing to the left, swing to the right 3 times, and get wrecking ball moving. The faster you go, the more power it will have. As you can see, this gigantic giraffe is so unpredictable on moving this wrecking ball left to right, left to right, left to right, until it gets a momentum to knock the building down. Boom, you did it. Cough, cough. That's a lot of dust. Try blowing it away. Everybody's going to get sick because of all the dust particles. Everyone's going to have to get the vacuums, the mops, and clean up the building and all the rubble on the ground because of the services they have for the OSHA ordinance policy of upkeeping. The most endured butlers in the world, the most sophisticated housekeepers in the world, and the most populated construction outfits in OSHA ordinances come. But there's much better now. We've got to clean all this big mess, which has been moved properly right. We need this red bulldozer and this green bulldozer to properly educate and prosper and put this, of course, this pile of obscurities, which is a nuisance to the public, nuisance to the family members, nuisance to everybody that comes from the processing of here in Othello, Washington, Kennewick, Richland, Pasco, Moses Lake, Ephrata, Tacoma, Spokane, Seattle, the whole state of Washington, anybody of that nuisance, Canada, and of course that Canada and also Oregon, which is Washington State, Idaho, the other side is Washington State, and also Canada, Washington State, Oregon, Washington State. So the nuisance of all these individuals goes, and it's going to be bulldozed, processed. Now, the bulldozers use metal blades to push the rubble out of the way, tilt the page right up, and it's along. You can see this service they have, this gigantic blade, this warranted blade, to go through any serviceability for coverage, fully covered with this blade, warranties its project. Now you shoveled your rubble trouble, and you rubble trouble, you shovel the rubble trouble, you shovel, that's the beaver. See, the beaver knows all construction, all dams, turbines, nuclear power, endurance. He provides services like sofa sets, tables, desktops, chairs, comforters, lazy boys, also sectionals, beds, queen-size beds, low-size beds, also the services they provide for the flooring. Any of the securities a beaver has at also all colossal ordinances, as you recognize the teeth, the beautiful teeth on him. It's a beaver. You see that gigantic tail in the back where it flaps all through Columbia and Snake River, the Pacific, the ocean, and the sperm and the whales. They communicate in their service. They're so unpredictable. Now, ready for some digging? Well, Blue Excavator is a gigantic bucket and a strong arm for this. The dirt looks hard. Can't excavator dig here. You use a strong arm and scratch the dirt 5 times. That's what the beaver says. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, repetitions of 5 with a 5-pound weight with dumbbells. With this dumbbell weight with the cardiovascular program. And then you incline with your 10, your 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 90, 95, 100. And also get onto the flat bench, incline bench. It's starting to crumble, but keep scratching. This will continue on. And this is one of the best series here at 101 East Main Street, though, Washington. Now this chair is a nuisance. Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is the Rutherford Stephanie of Clarkson and also the Art of Tempest. This is a resemblance of Victorian Secret of the Victorian services they provide for Jane Austen. She was born in 1775, grew up with her 6 brothers and her sister in a small village at Hampshire in England. Jane wrote the stories based on the world. Knew, and by the time of 23, written 3 famous novels, including Pride and Prejudice. The truth is usually unknowledge the single man in possession of the good fortune must be want of his wife. Must be a want of a wife. But I repeat that twice because Mrs. Brunette and found her husbands were her daughters. But rich Mr. Darcy, Rudy Elizabeth Bennet, wants to marry for love. And that's Simon's Mall, basically. That's increments for the services for the Victorian Circuit purchase and services. This is probably the Dell View services for a platform, Microsoft, and services they had for Mrs. Bennet. longboarding, and having 5 brothers. In that fact, that's James Madison House right down the road. Riverside, George Washington House. Pretty much James Madison, Abraham Lincoln, and George Washington walked in this downtown Riverside, Spokane, Washington. And this Pride and Prejudice services economics. It's a true story because John Austin from 1775 grew up in her 6 brothers. Now, one of their brothers and sisters walked by George Washington House, number 42, and afraid of Washington. See, they still live, they still exist. They come to my fence line begging for their lives back because they're judges, nurses, services. Simon's Mall, those islands, those buildings, those salesmen, see, they have to pay Felix Barela $1,000. $1,000 every month. They don't own the property. See, Azteca, they got kicked out. Starbucks got kicked out. And so forth. China, Mexico, and also Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Korean, and also the mother and father and brothers and sisters. And this is original document. I recommend this one. Pride and Prejudice. This goes very far. This is economical. See, this service goes from International Airport, Fairchild's Air Force Base, Fairchild's Theater in Moses Lake, and also Mr. Crazy Mike's Crazy Theater in downtown Kennewick on Gage Boulevard. See, this is Mrs. Bennett and Longhorn with five daughters. I guess 5 daughters. Supposedly 5 brothers, but that's probably why they got beat up, because all the sisters sitting there watching the services and their services deposit inquiry and their money profits, and also Wall Street is right downtown in that service, and Chase Bank on Island, Starbucks on Island, and also any guest service provided for their UBI number to provide any economic profit, leisure tax, business expansion. I recommend Pride and Prejudice. This is Pride and Prejudice in itself. I recommend this one strongly because this is a time frame. This is a life changer. I'd say this is a change your life for right now. I'd say Miss Bennett wanted these girls to get married. But I think nothing else but the summer's day of the gentleman rode in town. And Mrs. Bingley is very rich, and Mrs. Dancy is very rich still. But the service as you see the white goblin and the black stallion, the fierce snake. You see, you don't see in the ground landscape those snakes that betray themselves of snapping at them, of course. And stallions do run and back and kick fence lines because of the rattlesnakes. And coyotes, see, they don't like being closed out in stalls because when coyotes come in, the stallions break out of the stalls into a stall and run into a field away from the snakes and coyotes for fear of its life. Now, the right there is a ball in town. All the ladies, neighborhoods, was invited. Now, Mr. Bigley could not take the eyes off Jan and danced with her all night long. All night long. He danced all night long. He danced so long, it was like this Darcy was very rude not to dance with Elizabeth. But come, Darcy, I must have you dance. I certainly shall not. Now, Jan and Elizabeth to dinner, Miss Bagley. Miss Bagley seemed to fall in love with Jan. Mr. Darcy was less friendly, but began to notice Elizabeth's very fine eyes. The serpent eyes, the snakish eyes, as she comes at the George Washington house looking at him. See how she's sitting there plucking her, plotting how she's going to have him process like that turkey that's on his table with the potato, the yams, Sunny Farms, Sunset Acres, Davenport Hotel, the Trump Towers, the islands, the Simon's Mall, the Canada, the Mexico, the Japan, the Korea, Vietnam, Korea, Chinatown, downtown Japan, Air Force One. Look how the snakish eyes, how she looks at him, threw it on the fence line, on his fence line, his foundation, his soil, his land. And she goes, But this who was less friendly began to notice Libby's very fine eyes. So that means fine eyes mean negative. Negative exponent to the double square root negative, meaning she is no good. As India would say, President of India would say, and mother, father, grandfather would say, no good. No good, you no good. You no good, you know nothing about Felix. Nothing about Felix. Will be continued.